Today I'm breaking down a Netflix survival horror thriller that's been quietly terrifying people. It's called The Last House. A family gets trapped inside their own home for years, while something absolutely horrifying waits for them outside. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's really going on outside those walls. And trust me, it's not what you think. The film opens with a quote from sci-fi author Arthur Clarke. How inappropriate to call this planet Earth when it is clearly ocean. Keep that line in your back pocket. It matters a lot later. We meet Jason, fishing off a dock. He catches a small fish and throws it back. Out on the horizon, storm clouds are rolling in. The radio's already warning people to get home. As he drives back, a narrator, a young girl, tells us something chilling. The day the rain came, everyone in the neighborhood was going about their normal lives, wrapped up in themselves. Nobody realized that day would prove they weren't alone in the world. Jason gets home to his wife Anne, his son Graham, his daughter Ruth, and their old dog Cass. He's an out-of-work engineer, quietly crushed by another stack of rejection letters, but he puts on a brave face for the kids. Breakfast is warm, everyone's laughing, until the Wi-Fi and every device in the house suddenly cuts out. Anne brings up moving house again. Their place is falling apart, the chimney's cracking, it's not safe, but the money just isn't there. The conversation gets cut short because the kids want to head out and get a Christmas tree like Jason promised. Then it happens. The front door won't open. At first, everyone assumes it's jammed. Jason checks every door, every window, even the garage. Nothing opens, not 1 inch. He grabs a crowbar and starts smashing at the windows. They crack, but they will not break. The house has completely sealed itself. Here's where it gets bigger than just one family. Jason looks across the street and sees his neighbor, Mr. Richardson, signaling with a mirror. Every house on the block is locked down, inside and out. A jogger named Suzanne is the only person still outside, and when she tries to get into her own house, the door won't budge for her either. Her husband Greg mimes for her to run and get help. She sprints off into the storm and never comes back. With no phones, no internet, and no way to shout across the street, the neighbors start writing messages on whiteboards and holding them up to their windows. Theories fly. The government? Aliens? Nobody has answers, and the not knowing is almost worse than the trap itself. That night, Jason reveals he secretly bought a gun for protection. He'd had a bad feeling for weeks. Anne's furious at first, then asks him to teach her how to use it too. Later, unable to sleep, Jason notices something stranger than the locked doors. The rainwater outside is behaving like a liquid seal, coating every gap in the house like some kind of living barrier. This isn't a government thing. This isn't man-made at all. Rain stops. Doors are still locked. The family pivots into full survival mode, rationing food and water, they've got about 2 months of supplies, and Jason starts teaching the kids how to fish and clean their catch, using stuffed toys as practice, just in case those skills become real necessities later. Weeks pass. Anne starts saving tomato seeds to grow her own vegetables. The power starts flickering. Across the street, Richardson tells Jason their food has completely run out, and there's nothing Jason can do to help him. Not even hand over a can of soup, because nobody can physically leave their house. Ruth starts drawing strange pictures, sketches of something she's seen moving in the rain. She calls it the rainwalker. Nobody takes her seriously, yet. Christmas comes and goes, quietly and sadly. No tree, no big dinner, just a family trying to hold on to normalcy with home movies, dancing, and sugar-free cookies made because there's no sugar left. Small moments of joy inside a slowly tightening trap. Then tragedy. Mrs. Richardson dies of starvation in the house across the street. Around the same time, Jason realizes Cass' medication has run out too. The dog is old, sick, and in pain, and with no way to get more medicine, Jason makes the gut-wrenching decision to end Cass' suffering himself. One night, Ruth hears a strange whistling outside. She looks out, and Suzanne, the neighbor who vanished weeks ago, comes sprinting into view, bloody, screaming for help, before something invisible drags her into the dark and kills her. Lightning flashes, and for a split second, the family sees them, monsters. Not one, many. From here on, the family boards up every window during rainstorms, because that's when the creatures come out. Jason bans anyone from going near the glass. Ruth insists she's seen one of these things before, and that one of them might actually be friendly. Jason isn't buying it. Not yet. Life gets harder. Neighbors start turning on each other over dwindling food. To keep the kids busy, and honestly, to keep them alive, Jason builds a rope and pulley system so someone small enough can climb up through the chimney, which is finally cleared after a chimney cap falls, to see outside. Ruth's the only one small enough to fit. Eventually, out of sheer desperation, Jason starts building traps, using the same fishing logic he taught the kids earlier, to catch wild animals that have started reclaiming the empty streets. His first few attempts fail badly, but he adapts, starts small, and eventually catches a squirrel. It's not much, but it's food. And slowly, the family claws back some stability, turning a room's floor into a mini vegetable garden, hunting small game through the chimney trap, actually building a rhythm to survive by. Yes, 5 years passed. Anne's little garden has become a real farm. Graham and Ruth have grown up inside these 4 walls. Jason's automated his hunting trap. And outside, with humans completely out of the picture, nature has exploded back to life. Cleaner skies, wild animals reclaiming the town, just like we all briefly saw happen during COVID lockdowns. But fever is real. Graham, now a teenager, is furious and restless, desperate to get outside no matter the risk. The house itself is sinking into the ground, and Anne fears that one day it'll simply collapse and bury them without a trace. Trying to lift everyone's spirits, Jason reveals a project 6 years in the making. He's restored an old sports car in the garage. Anne and Ruth are thrilled. Graham is furious. What's the point of a working car if they can never leave the driveway? The fight boils over, and Anne has to remind Jason, the kids aren't little anymore. They can't be managed like children forever. Then, during a routine rain collection, a monster gets inside the house. For the first time in 5 years, the front door is wide open. A creature just walked straight through it, hunting for the family, freezing and destroying everything it touches. It's some horrifying hybrid, part kraken, part land creature, radiating cold intense enough to freeze soil and kill every plant it passes. It eventually leaves, chased off by calls from other creatures outside. But the moment the door was open is enough to make Graham consider bolting. Jason stops him just in time, and the door seals shut again on its own. Here's the twist that reframes the entire film. Ruth notices the water the creature dragged in tastes exactly like seawater. Digging through an old book, she puts it together. This isn't an alien invasion at all. These aren't creatures from another world. They're from Earth. Sea monsters, the kraken, the mermaid myths, all of it, possibly always real, just never surfaced like this before. They haven't invaded humanity's home. Humanity has, in a way, wandered into theirs. Not long after, tragedy strikes again. A ferret gets caught in one of Jason's automatic traps. Ruth frees it out of sympathy, and it bites her. The wound gets infected fast, and she desperately needs antibiotics they don't have. Jason smashes the car into the garage door in blind panic. It doesn't work. These creatures can seal doors no ordinary force can break. Then he remembers. The house has been sinking for 5 years. He starts digging straight through the bathroom floor and hits the neighborhood's old sewer line, the one thing still connecting every house on the block. Anne remembers the Richardsons' grandson was a dentist, meaning antibiotics might still be sitting in their house. She's the only one small enough to make the crawl. Jason rigs up a walkie-talkie and camera so she can stay in contact, and Anne sets off through the sewer alone. She reaches the Richardsons' house, finds their decomposed bodies, a gut punch of a scene, but also finds the antibiotics. Then the rain starts again. A creature gets into the house behind her. She dives back into the flooding sewer, and the same monster follows her through the tunnel. Just as it's about to catch her, she opens fire with Jason's gun. Jason pulls her out, then permanently seals the tunnel behind them with rubble. Ruth gets her antibiotics in time and pulls through. But now there's a new problem. The creatures know there are survivors in that house. Graham pushes hard for one final plan: fight their way out or die trying. Reluctantly, even Jason agrees they can't survive like this forever. The family rigs the entire house with traps and snares, engineering an ambush. When the next creature finally breaks in, the house floods on purpose, forcing the family up into the attic, right into their trap. As the water rises dangerously close to drowning them, they spring it. Jason's crossbow, wired to the restored car engine, fires the second the creature is in position. The car roars to life, triggering every trap at once, and the flood drains out through a hole torn open in the process. The family can finally breathe. Downstairs, they find the creature bound and helpless. Jason approaches with a knife, ready to finish it off and force the door open, but Ruth stops him. If they kill it, she says, they might never get out at all. Jason looks at the creature properly for the first time. It's not attacking. It's terrified, just as terrified as they've been for 5 years. He remembers what young Ruth said all those years ago, that one of these things was actually friendly. Suddenly, it clicks. These creatures came from the sea because humanity's cruelty toward the planet pushed them to it. This was never really an invasion. It was a warning. Jason cuts the ropes, drops the knife, and the creature, unprompted, opens the front door on its own, like it's granting them their freedom. For the first time in 5 years, the family steps outside. It's short-lived relief. A pack of the creature's companions immediately surrounds them, but the one Jason spared steps forward and waves the others off. One by one, they retreat back into the sea. Moments later, the entire house collapses into the ground behind them. If they hadn't left when they did, that house would have been their grave. The rain finally stops. The town has become an overgrown forest. The creatures are gone, and it turns out, the rain and the creatures always arrive together. The storms were basically their calling card. Jason spots a neighbor's abandoned boat, loads up his family, and sails off in search of a new life. And here's the final gut punch. The narrator we've been hearing this entire film is Ruth, all grown up. She tells us they survived because they showed the creature mercy, and it showed them mercy in return. As they sail away, they pick up radio chatter from other survivors out there. Humanity isn't gone, but it's been humbled, massively reduced. And maybe that's exactly what these creatures wanted all along. balance restored, before the planet's resources ran out completely. And that's where The Last House ends. At its core, this isn't really a monster movie. It's a film about how much damage humanity does to the planet while insisting the planet belongs to us alone. There's a real irony in how we tear down forests to build neighborhoods, then plant a garden in the backyard and call it luxury, when the actual luxury was already there before we destroyed it. That's The Last House. If this video helped the ending click for you, smash that like button. And if you're new here, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.